Hey Dale,
What?
why did Elaine Wu from Railgun Max take kitchen utensils to the battle box?
I don't know. Why did Elaine Wu from Railgun Mac take the kitchen utensil to the battle box?
It was a risk she was willing to take.
Terrible.
Hey Dale,
What?
what did Ray Billings say after fighting Rotator?
I don't know. What did Ray Billings say after fighting Rotator?
He didn't. He's burning in his grave. Oh dear. And on that note, there's quite a few upsets this episode, wasn't there? And do you know who was a little bit upset? Is our guest, Al Kindle.
Yay.
Hey guys.
Hey Al, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Oh, we're all good. We're all good.
Yes. Very good.
Dale's going to sit here and say yes, as he did last time.
I say a bit more now. I've got
He's-
more comfortable since the first episode.
He's getting there. He's getting there.
Yes.
So, right, straight down to business. We'll get into the fights. First up, we have Death Roll from Down Under versus Bitey Bitey Quantum. And, to describe this fight, the belt fell off. But fortunately, they had another belt, so it was all good. And Quantum got its ass handed to it, really, didn't it?
Yeah, I was very upset about that.
I'm sure you were. You can just hear the remorse in Al's voice. Actually, go on, Al, say it again. Say it again.
Yeah, I was very upset about that.
Mm-hmm. That's a remorseful man. This fight was over pretty quickly, and then Death Roll showed off its that's not a knife, it's a Shremek.
Yeah. Yes. That's all you can say, really, isn't it?
Bitey Bitey bit the dust.
Yes.
Bombshell versus Cobalt. Now, I was hoping this would be more of a brawl. I mean, there's a history between these two robots. Cobalt lost to Bombshell, got its tires chopped off in series 2. So Dave Moles was obviously, he was out to get Bombshell this time, and he got Bombshell. Fair enough. But the fight just wasn't very. It was a bit meh, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't really know what was going on with that. They had the Bombshell guys were just having a really tough event, and I'm not quite sure why, but if you could notice in the match that their chassis seemed to be upside down, and for some reason they were running the main frame upside down. So then when they were inverted, it was now the opposite of the way it needed to be for the rear wheels to touch the ground. And I overheard people talking about it, and I never actually heard why they ended up having to do it that way.
I think the disappointing thing is just we know Bombshell's capable of more, and we've just not seen it, and it's a bit of a shame, really.
Right. I mean, they went from they were the runner-up in season 2, and they just haven't been able to really piece anything together other than the beating Tombstone last season in the first round of the 16.
And then the whole Justice for Duck thing.
Yes.
Dale, what did you think of this fight?
Well, yeah, like you said, they just needed a Shremek, really. Self-righting mechanism, anyone don't know. But yeah, it's just a shame, really. Every time it gets upside down, they just don't move.
What was more interesting than this fight? Farouk's tantrum.
Oh, yes.
This was just, it was fabulous, wasn't it? This is now a GIF, of course.
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot to say about this fight, Gemini versus Tantrum. Tantrum's punchy spinner kind of didn't work as well as you hoped, which was a shame, really, because I quite like the idea, and kudos to them for bringing something new and creative to the show, but it was a bit lackluster, really, which is a shame because I wanted to see it working. Gemma, I like a clusterbot as well. They have a tough time. They're fun to watch. And this fight was it was a lot of pushing, and we want a bit more destruction than that, really.
Yeah, like I say, one of the tantrums where this got smashed up a bit, but other than that, it weren't anything spectacular. It was just, it happened.
What did you think of this one, Al?
Well, yeah, kind of the same thing. I think it had a lot of potential. And one of the things I do appreciate about Tantrum is that Aaron comes with something 2 seasons in a row now that's something different than we've really seen before. there was the spring powered flipper that didn't really work out too well, but the puncher was a nice twist on things, and at least it's something different, and they're nice to look at. And it didn't work too well, but hey, look at me, I have a fire hammer. So yeah, and Gemini just always seems to be that close to working great and never quite pull it off. And I think they really have a lot of potential. I think that two middleweight spinners could really be a thing if executed properly. But they never can really seem to get a handle on coordinating the attacks.
I think there is a place for cluster bots, and they do have their use. I refer to Buggle bots as an example. There was a robot on there called Weewoo, and one particular fight against Maximum Overdrive, which was an overhead saw bot, was just an incredible match, and really showed that when executed well, cluster bots can be a really annoying and frustrating and well-matched opponent. Weewoo was also at Series 2, and there are some spectacular fights with it to come as well, which obviously I can't say too much about.
I can confirm that.
I think cluster bots need to not be taken as quite as much as the joke that they are, but they do need to be executed better.
Well, no, and we have a history against cluster bots. We fought Gemini in the Rumble in Season 2, and it's just there's too much going on in the bots to keep track of usually 2 bots, and then you got 3 or 4 if you're in a Rumble. And last season when we fought the Horsemen, I mean, Ian is great. Those damn little things really pack a punch that you don't expect it, but they actually took some chunks out of our arrow edge, believe it or not. And we were having radio problems, and we damn near lost that match. So it's not a joke.
The fight was fun though. I mean, against the 4 Horsemen, I was envisioning this is like a robotics version of Whack-A-Mole.
That's as it was pitched to us. That's as it was described, that Aaron had that vision of Whack-A-Mole. So that's kind of why he put that together.
And so we're going to move on to Lockjaw versus Duck. Now, I know that Al Kindle has feelings on this fight, so all I will say about this fight is that Lockjaw did the big spin, Duck did the great flappy flap. It went to the judges, and they chose the spin over the flappy flap. Duck did do an awful lot of flapping, it has to be said. So, Al, I'm told you have feelings on this fight, so take to the stage, Al. What are your thoughts?
I don't think I could possibly describe it any better than that. Flippies, flappies, and spinnies. But yeah, I mean, it was an entertaining fight. There's no doubt about that. And it did have some drama near the end when Donald started. He was visually slowing down, so something did let go. But I agreed with the judge's decision 100%. And how often you're going to hear me say that? So, but
no comment.
Yeah, I saw the the hoopla online about it, that people were thinking Duck should win. So I was like, let me go back and rewatch this. Maybe I just, I didn't remember it. And yeah, I just think Donald had control 99% of the time. He had all the damage. So I really don't see what the controversy is with this decision.
I can see why there's questions about it. The spinner did stop working, and I guess in a way you could count that as damage points for Duck because it immobilized their weapon. But yeah, overall damage really was Lockjaw on that fight. So I mean, yeah, I don't agree with people saying Duck should have won, but I can see where people are questioning it from, if that makes sense.
Even if you split damage, you can say, okay, damage is a wash. That I think there's still a better argument for Lockjaw having more aggression and more control.
Absolutely. So there we go. On to another judge's decision. Sawblaze versus Blacksmith. And I've been instructed how I should talk about this fight. Cherub won. It was an argy-bargy, a proper ding-dong, this fight. It was an absolute proper ding-dong. If there was alcohol involved, it would be considered a pub brawl, this fight, I think. But Cherub won, thanks to the judges. Al, what did you think of Cherub's victory?
I can't even talk after that. No, but in all seriousness, it was really a great fight. As you imagine, I've watched it a couple times. And I don't think you could really ask for anything better than that match was visually. Both bots. We were both actually having a lot of problems. It was, as I was talking to JMO actually earlier today, and we were chatting about it, and it was me fighting oversteer and him fighting the wheelies, and somehow in between we managed to hit each other. So it was pretty interesting in that respect. But I do think it was a very close match. But obviously I disagree with the decision. But that's what happens. That's the way it goes. And hey, the season's still early.
This is true. I mean, judges' decision aside, completely forgetting about those guys, the fight was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Just whatever your feelings on the judges' decision, like visually, it was spectacular. You could see the audience were loving it. There were so many oohs and ahs and ohs, and the commentators were going crazy. And that's a great fight that we like to see. So, feelings on the judges' decision aside, I think you can definitely come away from that saying, you know what, that was a great fight, and I'm glad I was involved in that.
Right, and obviously, and we were in the moment. Everybody is very revved up and very disappointed. So, everybody, whatever you see on TV in that moment, there's so much adrenaline, there's so much emotion, and whatever happens, you got to give everybody a little bit of slack in that case. But looking back at it now, yeah, we knew going in that basically, unless he managed to take out our hammer sprocket, that match was going 3 minutes no matter what happened. Because I knew the same thing with him. We weren't going to be able to immobilize him because he's also got the arm and it's self-righting, and it was just going to be 3 minutes of madness, and I think that's what it ended up being. So in the end, it worked out.
Well, there we go. So on to Railgun Max versus Shell Shock. This fight was over pretty quickly, wasn't it? It was a boom, boom, bang. Bye-bye, Shell Shock.
Yeah. That's what you can say, really, isn't it? It's just, one hit. And then it was just, I mean, the reaction of the driver of Shell Shock was funny. And he just said, oh, jeez. That was quite funny.
Yes. It didn't do the thing.
No.
I mean,
yeah.
I've seen Shell Shock. It's a nasty looking spinner, and at the same time, a very beautiful spinner. I mean, I'm obviously somebody who likes to give their robot a nice paint job, so I'm in the Shell Shock fan club for this paint job. It's a beautiful paint job. But yeah, just they didn't get going at all, really. And they got one hit KO'd, which was a bit sad.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful machine, like you mentioned, the paint job, and you have to kind of feel for them. They were kind of, was that their first match? I don't recall seeing that was the first match. I mean, they were kind of dropped right into it because Railgun already had put in a couple good performances, so they're the real deal. And so,
yeah, they're a high school team, so we'll cut them some slack.
That was a rude awakening. It was just like, here you go. And
I mean, yeah, I totally feel for them on that respect. I mean, we had sacrificial armor on Nelly, so we went into it knowing that armor was going to get smashed up. But at the same time, getting smashed up in quite the fashion we did by Rainbow was kind of like, yeah, welcome to BattleBots. And I'm sympathetic to those guys. It's exactly as you say. It's a brutal awakening. It's like, shit, this is serious.
But hey, props to them for getting the bot together and getting it in the box. That's
they did, and I'm pretty sure they came back for another fight. I obviously can't say who the fight is, but I'm pretty sure they got back. So we'll give them kudos for that as well.
Sure.
So on to the main event.
Oh, what was the main event? I thought Sawblaze and Blacksmith was the main event.
The main event was Tombstone versus Rotator, and as someone who was there, I was hoping, Al, that you could sympathize with me on how hard it's been keeping this one quiet.
This is one of those that it's actually a lot of fun when you're leading up and when you see the little polls and when you have the little thing that Discovery's been doing, the contest that they have, where they're having when you see the bar 92% Tombstone and you're just kind of chuckling to yourself and you're just waiting for it to happen, and then there it is. And it's just still a great match to watch, and it was fun. So, and it's just, it's always amazing when someone does beat Tombstone, and I think that's a testament to just how good a machine that is. When anyone beats him, it's a shock.
Yes.
It's not like beating Blacksmith where you're just like, yeah, whatever. it's Tombstone. Holy crap,
I think one thing I will say about this fight is that some of the main events so far have kind of like not really felt like they were main event worthy, and I just kind of found myself thinking the other fights in those respective episodes were kind of more deserving of it. But this one, without a doubt, was main event worthy and kind of redeemed the reputation of main events for now for me. It was like, I mean, I knew the results, so maybe some of the element of surprise and shock of it is obviously not there for me. But at the same time, even with that in mind, it was just like, whoa, this was a freaking awesome fight.
Yeah, I agree, and that's one of the, especially when it's an upset like this, because it's a shocker. It's a good match. It went 3 minutes, right?
2:59, I think.
At the end, yeah, okay. But yeah, that's the one thing. I was like, we get it as builders. We understand this happens at events. You can have two of the best teams in the world coming together in the main event, and we've seen that this season where, they both kind of had a bad fight, and the main event isn't awesome. But that can happen to anyone, and that's one of the things that I try to tell people. They don't really understand, like, well, why was that fight so bad? Why was he having problems? It's like, it's the nature of what we do. And one of the things that I think the production crew and Aaron, whoever puts the fights together in the main events, they do a pretty good job of gauging who's doing well and who's getting better and who's getting worse when they make these matches, because you don't get a second take once the buzzer goes. So, and plus the first couple rounds, you don't know. Everybody got there, unpacked their crates, let's go. You have no idea the first couple sessions who's got it together yet. So that's as the season goes along, you will see everybody get better.
Yeah, definitely. So, Al, how many bananas out of 10 would you give this episode?
How many bananas out of 10? I'd say it's got to be a solid 8 or 9 at least.
I mean, it had you in it, so.
Well, of course. We always have good ratings when Blacksmith is losing.
Bonk and Blacksmith bring the ratings, yo.
Yeah.
So we will move on to the Shuntposting Awards. You know the drill this time, Al, so I don't have to explain it to you, which is awesome. So first up, of course, the John Reed Good Hit of the Night Award. We have 3 nominations this week. We have Railgun Max's one-hit kablamo on Shell Shock, Lockjaw making duct tape flight, or Rotator's face-breaking Tombstone's weapon. So I'll come to you first, Al, seeing as you're our guest.
Ooh. I think I would go with the Railgun Max hit.
That was a spectacular hit. I mean, it was one hit done. Bye Turtle.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that one. It was a good hit.
I'm gonna have to make it unanimous on that one. It was the other hits were very good. But I think also we expect Lockjaw to make duct tape flight. And you expect good hits whenever Tombstone is involved as well. And so Railgun Max's was kind of more, whoa, that was cool. Yeah. So there we go. Congratulations, Railgun Max. You get the John Reed Good Hit of the Night Award.
Hey.
Bravo. So on to the Salt Powered Robot Award. This is the fun one. Al's going to enjoy it. Just remember, you can vote for yourself, Al. So 3 nominations for this one. We have Duck versus Lockjaw, because it was a salty judge's decision, according to the internet. Sawblaze versus Blacksmith, judge's decision. And Tombstone losing. Dale, I'll come to you first on this one.
No comment. No, I'm gonna have to give it to Al. That was it. Obviously, you can understand he's upset.
It was so close.
Yeah.
Al, who would you like to vote for?
I'm going to go ahead and vote for myself as well, because at this point in the event, I think my entire team and the bot is powered by salt.
I mean, well, you know what? You had to win something, Al, so I'll make it unanimous again. Congratulations, Al!
Yay.
And Blacksmith, you win the Salt Powered Robot Award for episode 7.
Yay.
I want to thank my mom and my dad. So on to the Shuntpost Award, and you're up again, Al. The nominations are Furious Al, Elaine Wu's Whiskey Business, and Farouk's Tantrum. So, Al, who's it going to be?
I'm going to go with the Tantrum because that was awesome.
Dale?
Yeah, I can't argue against that. That was too good.
I mean, I'm going to have to make it a hat trick on that basis. I'll give it to Farouk. So congratulations, Farouk!
Yay!
You win the Shunty McShuntpost Award for episode 7. Right, so we move on to Al's favourite part of the Shuntcast, which is the member questions section. And Dale's going to kick us off this week.
Yes. Al, who is the unsung hero at BattleBots?
In general, like of the whole thing?
I don't know. I'm just reading the question, to be fair.
Oh, can you repeat the question, please?
Who is the unsung hero at BattleBots?
I'm going to go with Peter Abrahamson.
Fair enough.
I would go with Jax, personally.
It was a toss-up. I was going to say Jax, but we always say Jax, so I'm going to go ahead and give Peter some credit.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. Well, there you go. Shout out to Peter Abrahamson.
Yeah.
The show absolutely could not work without Jax. So
true
that's
story.
True. If you could give it to, if you have to pick one person that show will not work without, it is her. So, and I don't think you'll find anybody who will argue with that.
This is very true. So, on to question 2. On a scale of dial phones to avocado toast, how millennial are you?
Holy crap! What was the bottom end of the scale? Toast?
On a scale of dial phones to avocado toast, how millennial are you?
Smoke signals.
Brilliant. Yes. Next question. When BuggleBots?
When anybody cares.
Not wrong, to be honest.
Yes.
When is that actually?
I genuinely don't know yet. A little birdie tells me that we have a date for the commentary team to come in. So things are moving forward. Things are moving forward.
Good.
But I can say no more.
The event itself happened already, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's been filmed. It's being edited by our one-man crew. So we give him time because he is a one-man crew. So on to question 4. Do you think that Lisa Winter is biased towards Cherub?
No comment.
Oh dear.
Cherub.
Who would win in a battle between Cherub and Blacksmith?
The arena floor.
This next question is from your past self. Why are you dumb enough to do this awful show again?
I'll never know the answer to that.
We appreciate you doing it anyway. What's your secret to making durable robots?
Goodness, a sensible question.
Yeah, I was not ready for this. Like a real no, in all seriousness, it's mostly the little things. It's the taping your connectors. It's the shock mounting where appropriate, as opposed to not shock mounting your entire bot halves together. It's air gaps. When people ask me what the best armor is air.
Can confirm.
And exactly, when the blade comes right through your head and goes right through it, but it doesn't hit anything, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure you say it's ablative, because then it doesn't count against you. But honestly, it's mostly the little things, believe it or not. I think the reason that Blacksmith always goes 3 minutes, for the most part, is all little things, and a lot of that is to do with Alan, because his attention to detail is insane. It's all the little things, like I said, taping the connectors, not using removable links, making sure. In fact, we have a little system that he developed with Garolite mounts for the Waiachi switches that if they take a hit in that area, the Garolite will actually break away. And we might have trouble turning the bot off later, but it won't break the switch and kill your power. So it's little things like that, thinking ahead, what's going to happen when Tombstone's blade comes through here. It's things like that. Mm. It's not how fast you can spin your piece of steel or how many amp hours you have. It's all the other little things cumulative.
I suspect I know who this question came from. How much spaghetti do you think I can fit in a van truck?
Twice as much as a cone.
Thank you for your question, Alex Horn from Sub-Zero. Mm-hmm. I would say it was Charles, but he's actually not a member of Shuntposting. So the only other van truck person I know is Alex. So Alex is getting the blame for this one.
I don't understand how that's possible that Charles is not a member. That's what his life is. He sleeps late, he does van stuff and shit posts. So how can he not be part of Shuntpost?
Because he feels inferior to me.
He does look good in a dress. I don't know.
He looks better than me in a dress. I'll give him that.
Anyway, next question. If you were in a tag team battle on BattleBots, who would you pair up with?
Ooh, who are we fighting?
Okay, well, there's lots of spinners in BattleBots, so we'll go generic and say you're up against a spinner and a lifter.
Spinner and a lifter. I'm gonna say that, and this is funny because I actually was thinking about this today because they tinkered with tag teams last season and it didn't go over too well, and I think that was a lot to do with the particular bots they had chosen. But I think a great team would be something like Blacksmith and Sawblaze, or Blacksmith and Minotaur. Blacksmith and some sort of heavy hitter, I think, is a good combination. Because Blacksmith can do a lot of running interference, take some hits, maybe distract him while the spinner comes in and does his thing.
Yeah, you've got the durability, whereas your partner would have the hard hitting. That's a good combo.
Right.
So final question. I'm sorry for this one. Do you feel a lot of pressure being the male eye candy of the BattleBots world?
I mean, it's rough, but once you go fat, balding TV bot guy, what can you do?
You're so popular, and Shuntposting loves you.
I mean, my closest competition is Tim, so.
Ooh.
And he is the most handsome boy.
He's the most handsome boy. Do you think you're going to get most handsome boy this year, Al?
Oh, without a doubt.
I think Shuntposting may vote in your favour this time. They do love you.
Yes.
Well, I am hero of the stupid.
No comment. Oh, well, ladies and gentlebots, that is the end of the questions, and I'm afraid it's the end of the Shuntcast. So, well, thanks for joining us, Al.
Yes.
No problem. Thanks for having me. We always have a good time.
We do. I'm glad you have a good time. Tell the other Roboteers that the Shuntcast is a good time and that we're nice people.
Yes.
Oh, so who backed out? That he had to call me again as your backup?
It would be crude of me to kiss and tell, Al.
Okay.
But there are at least 25 people.
Tell me later. Yeah, because there was no one else in this episode.
Oh dear. So well, yes. It's goodbye from Al.
Bye, guys.
It's goodbye from Dale.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from the Queen. Goodbye.